So there is a school called Clyde A. Erwin High School, which is located in the Asheville area. Now, one of the stories behind this place, though, is it's actually has poltergeist activity because it was built over a graveyard, an old graveyard, which they either called as like a potter's field, which had miscellaneous or sometimes unknown people for like accounting of graveyard, county farm for elderly or people of that nature. Um, so they built this school around the 1970s and tried to zoom a lot of these graves out of there. And they estimate, because there was really no tombstones, there might be as many as 1,000 around this place. And so they dug up as many as they could, and probably about around 600 is what they think they found. But then many of the historian people who live around there believe that there's as many as very hundreds of them that are still left around there. So this causes a lot of poltergeist activity supposedly in and around the school, yeah, which is kind of really crazy. So there was even one story about someone digging up a excavation in the area, and the teacher actually saw a casket, and they found a body in there with the lady with the white gown and red hair. Um, but they also think that having this poltergeist activities, would you think that this has the football team has the advantage or not? Some think not, and some think they do, because I mean, who knows? If you're having a ghost or poltergeist activity coming up through the ground and tackling somebody, that'd be kind of crazy, but kind of spooky. So another place is a old hospital. It used to be an asylum type hospital that treated people with mental health problems. And one of the famous persons of this place was called Zelda Fitzgerald. Now Zelda Fitzgerald had actually married Scott Fitzgerald, which a lot of people know him from The Great Gatsby. Was, I think, one of his works that he did, like a novelist and person. And she was a novelist as well as a painter. And he had lots of alcohol problems, and he died way back in in 19, probably around 40. And then she kind of had some problems with with her health, so she went to this hospital, which was in North Carolina, to get some treatment up here. But the hospital was for a lot of people that had bipolar, schizophrenia, and stuff like that. So they had a lot of the windows locked and a lot of the bars over them, and it was a building like that. So, but in one day, the place caught on fire, and unfortunately they were not able to get her out of there, and she burned to death. And I believe about maybe 9 other people were deceased as well in this fire that happened a long time ago, because I mean they just couldn't get them out. The fire department couldn't. But so it kind of seems really odd that it's the very thing that was supposed to try to help her, which was the hospital, actually ended up being the place that took her life, in a way, you might say. Of course, this place is considered haunted all up and down the rock walls here. The building's no longer there, but it's kind of back behind another institution, a little hospital area back here. But they have a lot of times during the Halloween or ghost walks and stuff like that, someone actually dresses up like her and kind of walks down through there. But they've often said, you don't really need to have anybody dress up. You can still, see her walking around up and down the sidewalks down here, still yet today. Very spooky. So one of the most claimed haunted places in around Asheville is a rock bridge built around the 1900s called Helens Bridge. Now this bridge was kind of a passageway crossing the road that went to a old castle called Zealandia, and which is not really all there today. There is some buildings there, I think, that have some of the old rock parts to it. It's kind of private, you can't go there to look at it, but the story behind this is that Helen and her child were caught in a fire, her daughter, and by the time the rescuers got there, her daughter had already passed away, and Helen lived. But she was so heartbroken after this that she wandered around in the woods and went down to this bridge and hung herself because of that. And that's one of the most haunted stories that we have in the area there. Now the bridge is actually, they thought it was going to fall down several times, and when they're building the roads and they tried to support it, and then later on they thought it was going to fall down again, so they ended up reinforcing it with concrete. A bunch of people put some money together actually to try to keep it restored, but a lot of people go up there and do paranormal investigations and say they see all kinds of haunted apparitions of ghosts, and perhaps Helen walking across the bridge at night and around that area. It's very spooky.